Hello everybody, welcome back to the workshop. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you how to make a very simple pitchfork coat rack. So without further ado, let's get right into this project. It's not going to take a ton of your time today, and it doesn't take really long to make these, so it's definitely worth investing into, especially considering this is just a barn find that I found when I moved in. So great for me, right? All right, let's get right into it. Okay, so let's get this super simple process started. I want to keep the wood that's on here right now, so what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that that stays cool. How are we going to do that? We're going to make sure that that gets watered down, or you put some water on that end that you'll be holding, so this way the wood itself stays nice and cool. You don't want to douse this too much, because if you want to keep the wood nice, you're going to sand it down and then probably put some varnish over it later on, so you don't want to take and have that absorb too much moisture, because then you have to wait for it to dry out. Well, we're going to put this right in the fire here, and we're going to use a pair of scrolling tongs. This is where scrolling tongs can become very, very, very handy. So we're going to work with the natural curves of this actual coat rack. I'm going to use it as a hat rack slash, apron holder rack here in the shop. So I'm going to go with this. I'm going to have the pitchfork standing straight up versus hanging down. You can do whichever way works best for you. And also, if you're trying to take and sell these as a home decor item or a barn item that people can buy, maybe to put in their horse stables or something of that nature, a great thing that you can sell these things for is right around 50 to 60 bucks. So that's really super, super handy. And it's super cheap in cost of materials. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and roll this forward just a bit more with my scrolling tongs here. Put it back in there. And again, this is a super simple, quick thing that you can do with these coat racks. It does not take a lot of time at all to mess with this. You're just doing some simple scrolling work here with your tongs. Of course, you can use whatever you want. You can try to use the anvil. The only problem that I have found with using the anvil is that sometimes it's hard to make that distance up just right. And at any rate, we want to make sure that this is nice and square, looking good. On to the next one. So it's really just that simple. We do one at a time. The reason why we're not going back and forth to the anvil, because these tines heat up quickly. Now, one thing to mention here, these hay fork tines, they are high carbon steel. They're very similar to like a, they're very similar to like a 5160, a spring steel, especially if it's a more modern fork. If it's an older fork, it'll be closer related to maybe like a 1045, so you definitely don't want to quench these while they're hot or anything like that. You're going to end up stressing out the material, so just keep that in mind, when you're doing stuff with hay fork tines. So really here, all we're looking for is we're trying to get a fairly even look amongst all the tines. It may be possible, it may require you, in order to get this done just right, it may require you to shorten a few of the tines as you go along. We're not going to give this a ton of effort. This is just meant to, again, hold up hats and my aprons in the shop. So we don't have to be totally super crazy with this. We don't have to get nuts. We just want to take and give ourselves some little hooks here. So as you can see, it doesn't take long to heat these pieces up. When you get to the other side, now you're going to start having a reach issue, or you're going to be struggling for reach. So it's best to do it's best to keep going from this side out, even though this one's laying out straight. It'll be easier to get to that inner one now versus covering it up and having to get into it later. So just get that hot again. And as you can see, it really doesn't take a ton of time at all to do this. Just take your time, don't overheat your pieces. And remember, you're working with higher carbon steel here, so don't work the pieces too cold either once they've decided they want to cool off. Otherwise you can introduce some stress fracturing and cracks, and we don't want that. Last time. As you can see, this isn't a bad 50, 60 bucks if you're doing these on the fly. If you don't want to charge that much, you know, $20, $30 each is a good thing. If you have to buy newer hay rake tines, you know, Pitchfork stuff, you know, you got to buy it at the store, Tractor Supply or something. It's going to cost you a lot more than that. So just keep that in mind, especially if you get in demand. I had a situation where these were really in demand, but I was all out. Back in my earlier days of forging, I was all out of fork tines. I had bought a whole bunch at a garage sale, and I said, well, you know, they're probably going to be a one-off thing, not all that popular. And turns out they were a pretty popular thing. And yeah, I just couldn't keep up with demand because I didn't have the tines. And I certainly wasn't going to go spend the type of money to buy a new Pitchfork just to turn it into a coat rack for somebody. It was going to price me right out of the market. So learn from my mistakes, as it were. There we go. Final little straightening. And pow. Just like that, you have all of the forging done. So now I'm going to let this cool down, and we will clean this piece up and finish it, and we will be good to go. Okay, everybody, so there you have it. That's how you can easily make a hook out of a hay fork or pitchfork, if you will. And pretty simple project, very quick and easy. A couple quick things to note. If you'll notice in the video, I didn't try to go a crazy big shine. I wasn't trying to really shine this thing up with the wire wheel. I was wanting to take and knock off some of the highs and leave in some of the rusty lows. And that takes and gives the piece a lot more depth and dimension. It's kind of the difference between a $30 Pitchfork coat rack and a $60 Pitchfork coat rack. So just keep that in mind whenever you guys are making these. Anyways, but yeah, so that'll hold up this apron here pretty well. That's good. It can also hold a hat or two. Throw that up there into the day or just beginning of the day. If I'm sweating too much, I can just throw it up there. It's a nice place. It'll be nice and convenient. I haven't had any place around here that I can hang something just yet, and I just happen to have that as a free barn find. So what a great better use to use it for than to repurpose it into something useful. So that's it for today. Hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, leave that like. Let me know what you thought in the comment section down below. And if you would like to support our content here at Christ-Centered Ironworks, a great way of you doing that is just simply sharing these videos around with your friends. That really does help improve the channel's standings in YouTube, and we really do appreciate everybody who does that. And if you'd like to take and give a financial form of support, a great way of doing that is checking out our website over at blacksmithpdfs.com and consider purchasing a power hammer plan, maybe a bundle, or maybe even an ebook over there that Jessica and I have written to help you on your blacksmithing endeavors as doing it as a business or a self-funding hobby. So that's it for today. As always, God bless you, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching.